Today's topic is the 16 social protests and movements. So, the industrialization, the word itself industrialization reveals for us, as we discussed in the previous chapters, that industrialization is a process where the change of handmade goods into the machine made goods, where the new inventions, new machinery has taken over the entire course of the journey of the people making the products to machines making the products, and people just were there to switch on the machines and look after whether the machines are working properly or not. And many industries have grown in the course of mushrooms, and they have grown in larger and larger in number, starting with England, later spread to Germany, and then to France, and then to the entire Europe, and then they started to establish their factories and industries in the colonial countries also in order to expand their trade and all these things. In this course of its journey of industrialization, it started to impact all people wherever they are having, either the working population or those who are working under the factories and industries start to get influenced because of industrialization and the lack of job opportunities, availability of huge labor for them at very less cost. So the owners who started to exploit the workers also started to think the next alternatives, like training the young children for them and then using them in the factories, which also resulted in the mass destruction of their health, and they lost their lives, the new diseases because of the growth of the slums and all these things. So it also, this century also revealed, like 18th century also revealed the fact that the French Revolution, which was fought from 1789 to 1794, also made very clear that they are going to have a mass action where it is going to affect the people and forced the monarchs to come down and follow the rules and regulations of the people. The scarcity of the food rose the anger of the people, and which made them to go and fight and ask for justice. Then the kings have to come down, they are surrendering to the parliament and making the actions which are helpful to the people. So the concept of liberty, equality and fraternity was the result of the mass action which was made by the people. So the French Revolution played a vital role. Now, along with all these things, with the industrialization, with the growth and emergence of new states like Italy, the new state of Germany, the unification of Germany, the unification of Italy, all these things also gave and paved the way for the development of the nations and move on towards the industrialization, whereon it also gave a chance for moving of people from villages to the cities, which is a best alternative for them to find out a search of their jobs. But the villages have lost their value because most of them started to migrate from villages to the cities, where we have discussed earlier in Germany and in England. The number of cities which are having 50,000 population were only 2 earlier, but after the industrialization they became to 29 to 30 cities, where each city is populated with 50,000 people. So these all has been the reason for the villages losing their prominence, and this also paved the way for the people to think on the lines of moving towards the cities and getting some kind of opportunity to live their life or earn their living by working in the factories or in the industries, because the agriculture was a failure because of the lack of the rains in proper time, failure of the monsoons, all resulted and made the people to move on towards the industrialization, where something can be guaranteed for them to eat. But the miserable conditions of the workers were literally, which is hardening for everybody, because they have to work continuously for 14 to 16 hours without a break, and they have very hard and tight fastening rules which force them to be disciplined, and punishments are very strict and severe. These all were also the reasons which brought in the industrialization, which spoiled the health of the workers, but which at the same time brought new fortune for some of them. It also brought new kind of class in the society existence, which is like the lower classes, which are workers, working classes. Then we got the middle classes who are emerging their trade to the other countries and started to earn their living and become rich, and they started to question the special privileges which are given to the aristocrats or the noble families. What is the special criteria for that? If only having wealth is the criteria, then we also own certain amount of properties, so we also should be given certain kind of privileges, or if not, that privilege has to be banned. So this kind of ideology has been developed because of industrialization only, because industrialization made the second category of people to become rich. They started to invest their money in the trade, and expand their trade to the other countries, which also provided an alternative for their money to become double, triple, and quadruple, which made them to become rich and richer, which also made certain kind of equality with the other rich community people, or the nobles or the aristocrats. So obviously this also brought new change that also happened because of the industrialization. So in this aspect, in this unit, we are going to discuss how did the industrialization develop, what are the problems, what did the workers do to solve these problems, how was it impacted on India.